Not a great look, I can't lie. Now, do I think Mike's PhD should be revoked? What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. What an interesting few weeks we just had. So, the man in question in today's drama alert is none other than the PhD holder, Dr. Mike Israetel.
Man, it'd be cool to like fight a dog with just your hands and...
Now, I'm not going to take this video to react to one specific video because honestly, so much stuff has come out about on all this, and I've watched for the most part the main things that have come out, so I'm going to form an opinion based on what I've seen on all the things. So, this whole kind of saga started off, I was just scrolling on Instagram or whatever, and then I found a video from Scientific Snitch, and it was basically her just saying how she would never want to work with Mike Israetel ever on anything, and I was a little bit confused for a minute, because I know these two individuals are both, high in the field of, kinesiology and exercise science or whatever. So I watched her video, and then it referenced, Mike's PhD thesis and stuff, how it was super poorly done and all this other stuff, and it mentioned a video from a guy called Solomon. So I believe that's how you say his name. I hope it's how you say his name. So then she said, go watch this video or whatever. It'll, whatever. So I watched that video, and then I watched Solomon's video, and oh boy. Let's just say Mike Israetel definitely did not proofread his PhD thesis before he submitted it, let's say. Basically, he just kind of exposed the whole thing as, just super poorly done, crazy amounts of grammatical errors, charts and tables that don't mean anything or have negative values.
Individual as individual, properties as propertites, biomechanics as biomechanins, neural as neural, training as traininiger, science as sense, as already noted, and exercise as exercise or exercise. Even worse are the misspelled names of cited researchers. Argard repeatedly becomes either Argard with a missing A or Argard. Claessens turns into Claessenseat, and Holdeman is rendered without its final N. Perhaps the most common mechanical failure in the thesis is Mike's inability or refusal to press the spacebar. Missing spaces between words and after punctuation are so frequent, it's as if the spacebar was rationed. They're everywhere, and by the time you encounter the 100th instance, you're no longer wondering how they slipped through. You're wondering if Mike's keyboard was partially submerged in cement.
Just lots of crazy, just really dumb mistakes, one, but also very poor research, and, the whole point, the whole thing around his thesis was on the interrelationship of fitness characteristics in Division 1 athletes. And according to Solomon or whatever, his video, in order to graduate with a thesis or whatever, it needs to be a step forward in science or whatever, and this, PhD thesis of Mike's was not that.
Make a contribution to knowledge that rests on originality of approach and/or interpretation of the findings, and in some cases, the discovery of new facts. So you have to offer a genuinely new contribution that meaningfully advances your field.
Not to mention the crazy amount of grammatical errors, charts, and graphs that don't make sense. His video absolutely blew up. I mean, it's probably on over 1 million views by now, surely. And then it's got a lot of people talking about it. Greg Doucette made a video on it. He gave his opinion on the whole thing. And after watching this first video, I'm thinking, damn, it's crazy to me how you can write this up with all these errors. I mean, I don't even know, like, okay, one, he obviously didn't proofread it when he was doing it, but two, how do you actually make that many errors? Like, when you're making a rough draft, like, are you just not doing anything? Like, are you not using spell check and shit like that? Like, what the F? Like, so many errors, whatever. And then Milo Wolf and Mike Israetel made a video responding to the criticism or whatever, and they were basically saying, oh, their main argument anyway was that this thesis or whatever was not the final version. Therefore, the final version was much better and it didn't have as many of these errors. The graphs and charts make sense and all that kinds of good stuff.
Mike Israetel's PhD thesis is a failure.
And yet the version he reviewed looked very much like that, an unrevised draft. The very revisions he demanded were largely made in the latest draft that Mike was able to retrieve. That fact renders much of his video irrelevant.
So I was watching that video, I'm like, okay, I mean, I guess they have a point. But then I was thinking for a minute, how did you submit the wrong version of your thesis? When you were submitting your PhD or whatever, or the university posted this, how the hell is, like, really? They published the wrong one. You worked so hard on this PhD thesis only for them to post the wrong one, or the university or whatever. So it sat with me. I'm like, okay, one, what are the chances of that? And then two, I didn't catch it in their response video, but I recently just watched Greg Doucette's video reacting to that, and it turns out that yeah, they made some edits on the fly.
Now, he's saying he got the wrong draft. Solomon went on the university, same as my friend's wife, and they got what was presented. It's not their fault. Now, you're saying that wasn't the final draft. Okay. Why, at 8 minutes and 51 timestamp, it says, you can see that the revision by ETSU was done on the 3rd of October 2025. And so the people are writing, wonder if this is going to get edited out. Good catch. OMG, ha ha ha. Revision was done today.
In their actual response video, they posted the final version of Mike's thesis. And when, you know, that video came out or whatever, I didn't catch it during their video, but it actually showed that the thesis was edited on October 3rd.
You serious?
Or 2nd, or basically like today, right now. So that just shows you right off the bat that they obviously freaking changed and fixed it up to make it seem like a more complete version so it looks less bad on Mike, but that obviously freaking backfired. So this is not a great look for Mike Israetel at all. Not only does it, you know, discredit some of the things that he says or whatnot and all that kind of stuff, like you know, his whole PhD, like, you know, you'd expect someone with a PhD to, you know, and you know what makes it even worse is the fact that he always brags about how smart he is and all this kind of stuff. And
both on a raw IQ scale smarter than almost every coach, maybe every coach. And I know more about physiology, body responses, etc. than they do. You've never met anyone with as much willpower as me. And whatever you think you're good at in your life, it probably take about a year and become an authority in the field in which you think you're good. And also in every category of behavior, I'm tougher than you. I can train closer to failure than you. I can do it for longer. I have more willpower than you. I'm funnier than you. I'm smarter than you. I'm better than you. So if you talk to me about anything with resistance training and hypertrophy, yes, I consider myself to be one of the world's premier experts on all that, especially in its application and interaction with science. I make no excuses for that. I will debate anyone in the world about that. That's easy. I haven't met a whole lot of people in the bodybuilding industry with whose raw intellect I was blown away. You are presuming you know more than me about the thing I'm one of the top experts in the world in, and also the thing I'm literally involved in myself. So whatever ideas you have about how I can improve, just right off.
And then when shit like this comes out, it kind of just flushes all that down the freaking toilet, and it really does not leave a good look. And what's even worse, in my opinion, is when Mike was responding with Dr. Milo Wolf, he was like, yeah, I didn't even watch Solomon's video or whatever. You know, I'm just going to pretend it's not it doesn't exist or whatever. So he didn't even know some of the criticisms that were put up in there. But I mean, if he read his own thesis, he'd probably know that it's really, really bad. You know, Milo Wolf in that video as well was saying that it was an unfair like critique because Solomon or whatever, like they don't, obviously he doesn't like Mike Israetel, him, Lyle McDonald, and all that stuff. They're very anti Mike Israetel or whatever. I don't know, they got beef going back. So he was saying that he made it overly targeted at Mike, and it was exaggerating the errors and stuff to make it look worse on Mike because he doesn't like Mike.
Then you look at his collaborators. In many of his takedowns, Solomon features or aligns with people like Greg Doucette, Johnny Shreve, and Lyle McDonald, all of whom have long-standing personal or professional grudges against Mike.
But to the opposite extent, isn't Milo Wolf and Dr. Mike friends? So when they're making their defense video, isn't he gonna obviously side with Mike and, you know, and stuff like that? So it's all just one really, really big mess. And right now, I'm not on Mike Israetel's side with this. I think the evidence or whatever is greatly supporting that this thesis that Solomon reviewed was probably the final version, which is not a great look. And then it makes it even worse by the fact that Dr. Mike and Dr. Milo Wolf or whatever tried to hide it by editing a better version and then releasing that version to the public. So not a great look, I can't lie. Now, do I think Mike's PhD should be revoked? Honestly, it's probably not something for me to decide, but I would honestly say at this point in time, no. I mean, it's just he's had it for so many years and stuff like that, and I don't know. This is just my opinion. I think it would be like crazy. I don't even know. Can that even happen? I'm not sure. So again, I'm just commenting on what I'm seeing and stuff like that. But again, it's not a great look. Now, I do have to say, though, I don't think this whole situation just discredits every single thing Mike Israetel ever says or will say, because in my opinion, it doesn't matter who's saying it. As long as it's right, it doesn't matter. Now, the only thing I think kind of, you know, may hurt a little bit is his whole brand or whatever is centered around this PhD, and he's Dr. Mike Israetel and this and that, uses in a lot of marketing material and all this stuff. He literally starts every video with Dr. Mike Israetel from RP Strength and stuff like that. So I think, you know, if anything, though, this is just making him more popular and stuff like that, because regardless of any publicity is, you know, good publicity, I guess, but not a great look on him, really not that smooth, especially because he brags about how intelligent he is all the time.
Both on a raw IQ scale smarter than almost every coach, maybe every coach. And I know more about physiology, body responses, etc. than they do.
Alright, but that's pretty much all I got. Just commenting on what I've heard so far. I'm sure there's going to be so much more stuff coming out real damn soon. The situation is absolutely blowing up. So let me know what you think in the comments. Should Mike Israetel's PhD be revoked for this? I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. But that's all I got for you guys today, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.